सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरते यौपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। The last passage we saw, Tauhi Anviksha Prajapati Uvacha, when Prajapati found that both of them, Indra and Virochana, were walking away quite contented with their understanding. Anupalabhya Atmanam Anunavidya Vrajataha. These two have not known the Atma, they have not attained the Atma. But it's one thing, not knowing the Atma, not attaining is one thing, but thinking that I know. So they are going away quite satisfied with their understanding, thinking that they have understood what the teacher has said. Then it's likely that you will never question it, because you think that you understood what the teacher has taught. And so said that whoever carries on with this kind of understanding, te parabhavishanti, they will be defeated in their life. That means that they will be deprived of the ultimate goal of their life. But then Indra was somewhat different from Virochana, and therefore the Virochana story concludes. Virochana went to his people and said that this is what the grandsire has told us, that body alone is Atma, and therefore we should deck the body, decorate the body, feed the body, worship the body. And that is how you will gain this world and the other world. They don't believe in other world, but anyway, still he says, so. So that's how the story of, and that is what we call the Virochana cult. But so here Upanishad says that therefore these people, when somebody dies, then they deck their body with ornaments, and dress it with good clothes and put good food items, etc. Thinking that I guess it goes with him, whatever it is, I don't know how they think, but this is what they do. Then the story of Indra continues, fortunately, otherwise the Upanishad would have concluded there. Or there may not be an Upanishad, So then, we go to the next passage on the page 9. अथः इन्द्रः अप्राप्य एव देवान् एतद्भयं ददर्श यथैव खलु अयम् अस्मिन् शरीरे साद्वलङ्कृते साद्वलङ्कृतो भवति सुवसने सुवसनः परिष्कृते परिष्कृतः एवमेव अयम् अस्मिन् अन्धे अन्धो भवति श्रामे श्रामः परिवृक्णे परिवृक्णः अस्यैव शरीरस्य नाशम् अनु एष नश्यति नाहमत्र भोग्यं पश्यामीति. Indra aprapya eva devan. Indra also started walking away from Prajapati towards Devaloka. Aprapya eva devan, but he did not reach the Devaloka. What was it? Devi Akrauriyadi Sampada Yuktatvad, Bhashyakara says. Difference between Virochana and Indra is Virochana was Asura. And the Asuras are Krura because they keep fighting with others and with each other also. So Krurata, cruelty is one of the characteristics of these demons. And Indra was devoid of that. Since Indra was devoid of this fault or defect of Krurata, cruelty. Being that Indra's mind is somewhat purer than Virochana. Because Virochana is born and raised in that kind of an environment, and this is what he'll inherit. For example, in Ramayana, Ramcharitmanas, when Anjaneya Hanuman, Sattvatis Hanuman Jayanti, meets with Vibhishana and goes to Lanka, Vibhishana says, look, I am born in this among the demons. So this is a tamas, this body is made of tamas, and therefore you can't expect me to have any sattvic quality. I can't have any bhakti or devotion. He had tremendous devotion, fortunately. Hanumanji says, what do you think this body is? He's no better. He's also tamas. So, that is how Lord Rama asks Vibhishana also when he approaches. So, Vibhishana, how are you doing? In the company, all these rascals, how did you maintain your routine, your bhakti, your worship? How did you maintain that? Because you are growing among these rascals or rogues, or, so that is somewhat unusual. Otherwise, all rest of the Rakshasas were like that. Vibhishana was an exception. But you are generally, you inherit from the environment in which you are born and raised. So Indra was born and raised among the Devatas. So the krurata, the cruelty, etc., which are the defects that the asura, the demons naturally have, fortunately Indra was devoid of that. And therefore, akrauryadi sampada yuktatvat. So he had some purification of mind. Guruho vachanam punah punah smaran eva. So whatever Guru had said, punah punah smaran. So Indra was again and again remembering what it is that Guru had said. Eshaha akshini purushaha. This purusha that is seen in the eyes is Atma. And then also Prajapati had tried to create an understanding in them with the example of looking at one's own reflection in the plate full of water, etc. And then be well dressed and then again look. So that time it did not strike them at all. To Indra also it did not strike, now I see the reflection. Formerly I was not well dressed, now I am well dressed. Reflection also is like that. But then this experiment, and at the same time what the teacher had said at that time, even though not understood at that time, he left impressions in the mind of Indra, and he was deliberating upon that. No, Virochana did not, because he had all this asuri sampatti, and therefore that deliberation, thinking, etc. was not there in his nature. Indra possessed some Daivi sampatti, and therefore Guruho vachana punah punah smaran eva. Again and again, remembering Guruho vachanam, the words of the teacher. So the question is asked here that both of them had listened to the teacher, and how come they had different responses? That is because their mindset were different. Here therefore a point will be made which we will discuss as to how the teacher is the same, what he teaches also is the same, and still how different students grasp different things in different ways. Etad vakshamanam bhayam. He saw this difficulty that we stated. What is the difficulty? Swatmagra anivittam. So he found this difficulty with reference to his understanding of the Atma. Now, Indra and Virochana, both of them heard the teacher, and they were both asked to look into the plate full of water and see what you see. From that, this Virochana came to conclusion that body is Atma, because what you see in the reflection is body. And Indra said reflection is Atma because whatever you see in the eyes is Atma. So Indra took the words literally, and Virochana derived the Lakshyartha. Although that is considered a defect here, that Virochana did not take the words of teacher literally, and he interpreted in his own way, that even though says that what you see in the reflecting medium is Atma, what the teacher means is body and not the reflection. Whereas Indra literally took what the teacher said and he concluded the chaya or reflection is Atma. So that is why Virochana never questioned. Because already they thought, Asuras think that his body is Atma. And that's what he thought that the teacher has said. And therefore whatever their understanding or misunderstanding was confirmed. So there was no further questioning. Here, Indra, for whatever good or bad reasons, literally took what the teacher said, that what you see in the reflecting medium is Atma, and what you see is the reflection. So the reflection is Atma, chaya is Atma. Vakshamana bhayam dadasya dushtavan. The Indra saw this difficulty in his understanding of Atma. His understanding was that the reflection is Atma, and then Indra thought about it. Then saw this difficulty in his understanding that reflection is Atma. Udashara udashtantena prajapatena idartho nyayukta. What Prajapati intended to demonstrate by the illustration of the reflection in the plateful of water is that what is agama pai, what is coming and going is not Atma, and also what is impermanent is not Atma. Of that one thing Indra grasped, not both the things. That what is Agamapa is Anatma, he still did not see what is Vinashi is Anatma. So Prajapati intended both of them, of that one part Indra had understood. Ekadesha Bhagavataha Pratyabhat Buddhau. So Kadachitkatva Vivicharitva. So Prajapati meant that what is incidental is not Atma and what is changing is not Atma. So of that one thing, that yes, what is Vivichari, what is changing is not Atma. Not what is coming and going, but what is changing is not Atma. This part he understood. But there itself now Indra found this difficulty. He says, Yatheva khalu asmin sharire sadhu alankrute chayatmapi sadhu alankrita bhavati. That's what the passage says. Indra says that just as when this body is well dressed and well adorned with ornaments, then this Atma, which is Chayatma, the reflection, also becomes well dressed and well adorned. So this one part he understood, that this what is incidental, namely the good clothes and ornaments are incidental, and that is so that is reflected in the Chayatma. Then he extended that understanding. Yatha nakhaloma deha avayava pagame. So second experiment was that Prajapati said, now both of you get well dressed, become clean, pare your nails, cut your hair, wear good clothes, put in ornaments, and now look. So then Indra said, Nakhaloma deha avaya apagame. Now he remembers that when I saw the reflection second time, the reflection did not have nails and hair. The first time, because hair must have grown for 32 years and nails must have also been so long, and all that was done properly and he was well dressed and well attired, and now when he looks, that when I looked in the reflection, there were no nails, there was no long hair. Chayatmapi pariskrito bhavati. So reflection also became well dressed, reflection also became well ornamented, reflection also became clean when the body was clean. So this is the kadachitkatvam, meaning that so now and then the nails were earlier and they are not there now, the hair was earlier and not there now, so there were kadachitkatvam, means what incidental. So this much Indra understood that what is incidental cannot be Atma. So therefore he extended that logic. Eva I am Chayatma Asmin Sharire. Then he says, nail is one of the avayava or the part of the body, hair also is part of the body. And he extended that logic further. Chakshusha apagame ando bhavati ande. Then chakshu or eyes are also avayava or part of this body. Just as nail is part of the body, hair also is part of the body, so also eyes are part of the body. That is a great thing. So just as by going away of the nails, this Atma also became devoid of nails. Atma means reflection. Just as by the going away of the hair, this Atma also became devoid of hair. And he knew that nail and hair, both of them are the avayava or parts of the body. Then he says, eyes are also part of the body. So what happens if the eyes go away? Ande chakshusha pagame ando bhavati. Now he extended that logic that is by going away of the nail, this Atma becomes devoid of nail. By going away of hair, the Atma also becomes devoid of hair. Then by going away of eyes, his Atma also becomes devoid of eyes. He'll become blind. Srame sramaha. Then suppose that body, has some cold and running nose. Is Atma also will have cold and sneezing and running nose? Parivrukna chinnahasta. If this body also, if one hand is cut off from the body, then Atma will have one hand cut off. If one leg is cut off from this body, then Atma also will be divided. His Atma means the reflection. So Atma also will lose one leg. Tathasya deyasanasham anu esha nashyati. Then by the same token, if this body dies, then Atma also will die. No, how long it took Indra to think about this? We think that what's the big deal about it, but well, anyway, with all of this understanding now, we may not think it's a big deal, but for Indra, it just struck to him that these nails are also avayava, part of the body, hair also is part of the body. If by going away those parts of the body, Atma means reflection, became devoid of them. And eyes also are part of the body, hands also are part of the body, legs also are part of the body. If eyes go away, then this body becomes blind, then Atma also becomes blind. If legs go away, this fellow becomes lame, Atma also becomes lame. Hands go away, he becomes without hands, this all become like that. He further extended logic. Then if this body dies, Atma also will die. Then nahamatra bhogyam pashyami. He says, no, I see no benefit in this. So because Indra had some purity of the mind, that is why he, even while returning to his home, he was deliberating upon what the teacher had said. Not that the worries of the Swarga etc. took over his mind. That's what may happen to Virochana. As soon as he left, then about Suraloka, whatever was to be done, all of that must have taken over his mind, and this was gone from his mind. How long teaching remains depends upon what is important to us. For somehow Indra was really an aspirant, one who wanted to know, therefore other things did not take over his mind, and therefore his mind was occupied with whatever dialogue and whatever interaction went on with the teacher. So he still did not see that this chaya is, but then I don't see that the chaya, if you Atma, then it is no good. Atma becomes mortal, Atma becomes, so therefore I see no good in this. So this much conclusion Indra came to, that chaya or reflection cannot be Atma. So if chaya is not Atma, Deha also is not Atma, because Deha is what is reflected then in the reflecting medium. Nahamatra bhogyam pashyami. He says that I do not see any good in this one. Then the Upanishad describes Sa samit pani punah eyaya. Indra did not go away. He came back to the teacher and surrendered to the teacher. Samit pani, again with faggots in his hand, he approached the teacher and fell at his feet. Tama Prajapati uvacha. Prajapati asked him, Bhagavan, Shantrudaya Pravraji. Hey Bhagavan, hey Indra, you left here very satisfied, contented with the knowledge. Sardam Virochanayana. Virochana and both of you were satisfied with your understanding, and that fellow has not returned. Kimichan punaragamahayati, then Indra, why have you returned? So, you come back here desiring what? Sahovacha. Then Indra repeated the whole thing. Yasa khalu ayam bhagava asmin sharire sa. Whatever reasoning he repeated whole before the teacher, that sir, when this body is well adorned, then the Atma also becomes well adorned. When is well dressed, this Atma also becomes well dressed. When the body is clean, Atma also becomes clean. So that is agantuka. So when these things come, then these also come in the Atma. If something goes away, they will go away from Atma also. So agantukatvam, kadachitkatvam, that, being incidental, this much logic Indra understood. So by arrival of these things, Atma also becomes well dressed, well adorned. Then by departure of things, Asminevande ando bhavati. If this body then loses eyes, then becomes blind, then Atma also becomes blind. Sadhu alankrute, sadhu alankrute bhavati. The body is well adorned, then the Atma also becomes well adorned. This is style here, they keep repeating the whole thing. In words of Puja Swami, you don't take shortcuts. Everything is described. And so, suvasane, suvasanaha. When well dressed, this one is also well dressed. Parishkrute, parishkrutaha. When he is clean, this is also clean. Asmin ande ando bhavati. Then if this body becomes blind, Atma also becomes blind. Srame sramaha. The body is cold and running nose. This fellow also has cold. And Atma also has. Parivrukne, parivruknaha, if you lose this one limb, this also loses limb. Asya nasamanvesh, and therefore this body dies and this Atma also dies. Now we realize that Atma, etat abhayam, etat amrutam, abhayam, etat brahmayati, he connected now. So far he only looked into, so ishakshini purusho dushyase sa Atma. So Purusha, the person that is seen in the eyes, is Atma. And they concluded, Indra concluded, Chaya is Atma. He did not apply those other things. Prajapati said also, is Amrutam, Abhayam, Etat Brahma, this is immortal, this is fearless, this is Brahma. That Atma is immortal, fearless, Brahma. That part they did not apply. This time he applies that. That if the body dies, then this Atma also will die, but Atma is supposed to be immortal. Amrutam, Abhayam, Etat Brahma, immortal, fearless, Brahman, which cannot be. So then this Atma is not immortal. Naham bhogyam pashyami. I don't see any benefit. I do not see any benefit in knowing this Atma. Suppose I know this Atma, so what will I get? Nothing. Here, Bhashyakara raises one question. No, you don't have that, but I am just reading from Tulye Akshi Purusha Shravane. That the Prajapati said, Akshini Purusha, the person that is seen in the eye is Atma. You keep repeatedly hearing this and this and this, but don't understand that every time there is some difference. So, all this I have already heard. But then there is some difference every time because it becomes a little subtler and subtler. So question is, how come Indra came to conclusion that the reflection is Atma and Virochana came to conclusion the body is Atma? Why is it so? Vidya grahana samarthya pratibandha dosha alpatva bhutva peksham. So now Vidya Grahanam, in grasping what the teacher is teaching us, in understanding what the teacher is teaching us, now whether there are doshas in our mind, alpatva and bahutva, the defects in our mind, whether they are greater in measure or smaller in measure, depending upon them, we will interpret what the teacher says differently. It is quite likely that the students sitting in front of the teacher, it is quite likely that many of them may interpret what the teacher says somewhat differently. Why is it so? Because everybody has a different mind, and the extent of the ragadveshas or impurities are going to be different. And they are the obstacles in the correct grasping. If the mind is free and sattvic mind is there, no ragadveshas are there, then we will be able to understand things exactly what the teacher says. But if you are carrying with us, which most of us do, depending upon the degree of the impurity of the mind, the interpretation of what the teacher says will be somewhat different. So therefore this question was, how come the teacher said one thing and how come these two people understood them differently? One understood the chaya as Atma, other understood Deha as the Atma. Why is it so? That is because the disposition of mind of the two students is different, and the dosha, the obstacles to knowledge, are also of different degrees. And depending upon the degree of obstacles in the mind, the interpretation, grasping and interpretation will be different. Svachitta gunadoshavashadeva shabdartha vadharanam. So shabdartha, the teacher says shabda, the words or the vakyas, artha, the meaning, is interpreted and determined by the listener. Svachitta gunadoshavashadeva, depending upon the guna and dosha, the virtue and vice which are in the mind. Tulyepi shravane khyapitam. Even though, so we told you this story of this Devata, Deva, Danava, Manava, these three progenies going to Prajapati and asking Prajapati, "O Lord, please teach us something that is useful in our day-to-day life." Some of you heard this, if not all of you. Then Prajapati, when then Devatas went to Prajapati and requested him to give them some upadesha, Prajapati uttered one word, da, one letter. Prajapati said da to Devatas also, to Danavas also, to Manavas also. Same letter, da, was uttered. But each one of them interpreted da in different ways. There is cited an example of how, even though the teacher says one thing, how the listeners understand them quite differently, depending upon what is in their mind. Sometimes what is important in our mind, what is bothering our mind, what problems we have, why we have come here. Everybody comes to the teacher to solve some problems So we come to the teacher with a purpose. Knowledge, of course, the purpose of knowledge also is there that Swami, I want to be free from all this samsara. I'm fed up with this samsara, whatever samsara means, So thus different people have different agenda, and that is why it is likely that people understand things in their own way. So this is what happened with Indra and Virochana. Therefore, Indra returned to Prajapati, Samitpani with faggots in his hand, surrendered to the teacher, reported, teacher asked him, even this is another style also. Prajapati knew exactly what was going in the mind of Indra. Here Bhashyakara is Prajapati Sarvajna, so he knows. And still asks, so Indra, why have you come back? Because Prajapati wants to hear in Indra's own words what he has understood. So that Indra repeated, whatever it is that he had thought, and that is what Prajapati wanted. Indra's abhipraya, not his own abhipraya. Even though he knew what, Indra was going through, but still he wanted Indra's abhipraya. Indra described that. So then the story continues here. Evameva esha Magvaniti. Prajapati said, you are right, Magvan, that whatever you thought that the Chaya Atma cannot be Atma because of the changes in the body, these changes will take place, and the way the body dies, Atma also will die. I don't see any benefit. This cannot be Atma. Meaning, knowing this is the Atma, nothing will happen, no benefit will come. We are here for immortality. We are here to get all the lokas. This anuvidya, knowing this Atma, sarvan lokan apnoti, sarvam kamanati. By knowing this, I won't attain all the lokas, I won't attain all the kamas, I see no benefit in this. Evameva esha Bhagwanati. Prajapati said, yes, you are right. What you say is right. Etam tveti bhuya anuvyakhyasami. Hey Bhagavan, I will now again explain to you the very same thing. Now, here the evam, so etantu evate bhuya anuvyakhyasami. Hey Indra, I am now going to tell you the same Atma. But to understand what I am going to tell you, Vasa aparani dvatrimshatam varshani iti. Indra, may you live here for 32 more years. How many of us will continue there, 32 years? What are you talking? So Indra, 32 more years you stay here. So some purification will take place in your mind, and then what I will tell you, will you understand? Sa prani dvatimshatam varshani uvasa. Very obediently Indra lived there for 32 years of life of brahmacharya, penance. Now Prajapati found that he is quite prepared. Tasmai hovacha. Then Prajapati said further. So next passage says, Ya eshaha swapne mahiyamanaha charati esha atmeti hovacha etadamrutam abhayam etad brahmeti saha shantrudaya prabhavraja saha aprapyaiva devan etad bhayam dadarsha tadyadyapi idam shariram annam bhavati anandasya bhavati yadisramam asramaha naiva eshaha asya doshena dushyati. So now Prajapati says, Esha swapne mahiyamanaha charati. The one who is mahiyamanaha, one is adored. So sometimes in dream also you become a king and there you are respected, adored by other people. I guess that's how Indra will dream. So now talking about dream. So this Upanishad teaches us the Atma Anatma Viveka. with the help of the three states, waking, dream and deep sleep. Esha swapne mahimana charati. The self that is adored now in the dream. Esha atmeti hovacha. That is Atma. So literal meaning is that the dreamer is Atma. Earlier, when it was said that Esha Akshini Purusha, what Prajapati meant is the vehicle is the Atma. Akshini Purusha, the Purusha that is in the eyes, meaning one who is seeing through the eyes. And that vehicle is Atma. Now it is said that yes, Swapne Mahiyamana Chari, one who is now adored and experiences dream. Yes, Atmeti Hovacha, that is Atma. It's not so. Dreamer is not Atma. And still Prajapati says dreamer is Atma and then qualify the statement. Etad amrutam abhayam etad brahma iti. Etad amrutam, that is immortal, it is fearless, it is Brahma. No, apply this qualification to dreamer, then you will have to think further. So Indra, as before, takes dreamer to be Atma and doesn't quite connect. Etat amrutam, abhayam, etat Brahma, this is immortal, this is fearless, this is Brahma. That part he doesn't connect. But Prajapati makes it a point to say that one who is experiencing the dream is Atma and he is immortal, he is fearless, he is Brahma. And so again Indra took literally what Prajapati said, the dreamer is Atma. Saha Shantrudaya Prabhavraja. As before, Shantrudaya, he was satisfied that now I have understood that dreamer is Atma. Shantrudaya, with contented heart, Prabhavraja, he left. Now, description is shorter. Saha aprapyeva devan. So he was walking away, but before he reached his home, the Devaloka, etad bhayam dadarsha. Asmin Atmani bhayam dadarsha. This Atma, the dreamer also, he saw this difficulty. Yadyapi idam sharim andam bhavati anandasya bhavati. This Atma is not as bad that it is true that when this body becomes blind, this Atma, dreamer, doesn't become blind. It's quite likely that somebody who's become blind later, not born blind, then when that person dreams, it is quite possible that he may dream of how he was earlier and ever. He may be a sighted person in dream. So one who is blind in waking, if he became blind in course of his life, which means that there was a time when this person was sighted, it's quite likely that he, in the dream, he may see himself as a sighted person. So Indra connected that this one becomes blind, that is the waking of the gross body becomes blind, this dreamer doesn't become blind. The dreamer is still a sighted entity, therefore this body becomes blind, he doesn't become blind. So that is good. Yadi sram asrama bhavati, if this waking body has cold and running nose and the dreamer doesn't have a cold and running nose, that also you could see. Naivasya doshena dushyati, the dreamer doesn't become contaminated, affected by the defects of this waking body. Navadhenasya hanyate, even if, now that is a bit long drawn, but says that if this body dies, then this dreamer does not die. Meaning if this is injured, let us say dying is too much, because if he dies then that cannot have been a dream, but it says navadhenasya hanyate. The idea is that the dreamer is unaffected by what happens to the gross body in the waking state. So what that means that if this body gets injured, then dreamer does not necessarily get injured. This is sramena, sramya, that this fellow is cold and running. No, the dreamer doesn't have cold. And they keep repeating that. But still there are problems. Granti tu enam vichadayanti eva apriyavetta eva bhavati api. But then in the dream also people attack him. Even though the dreamer is not influenced or affected by the problems of the gross body, dreamer is his own problems. What is it? Granti tu eva enam. People injure him in the dream. Vichadayanti eva. They may cut him off also. Apriyavetta eva bhavati. The poor dreamer also may have to listen to all kinds of harsh words, unpleasant words. He may be treated that way in the dream. Roditi eva. The dreamer sometimes is crying also, weeping also in the dream. So now he realizes. He subjects his understanding now to this reasoning that right away when Prajapati says dreamer is Atma, in this he is satisfied, dreamer is Atma. While going, because his mind is somewhat free from those doshas. Somehow when the teacher says right away he accepts it. That is Shraddha. So he accepts literally with Shraddha whatever the teacher says, which also is required, but he said this, no, I think it must be this. So that Indra does not do. Indra accepts whatever the teacher says literally. No, but Swami, other day you said one thing and meant something else, so today also you said something and mean something else. So Bada Swami used to say, every time you can't take Lakshyartha. Come on, bring water. Oh, the Swami saying water, so what does he mean? I don't think he means water. I think he means coffee or something like that, So everywhere you cannot take this Lakshyartha. The Lakshyartha implied meaning should be taken only when the Vachyartha direct meaning is not applicable. So he says, bring water, it's a waking state, it can be quite thirsty, water is right there, it can be water, water means water. If water does not mean water, and he says, hey, bring a drink, then you'll wonder, wait, Swami is asking for a drink? No, drink can mean just a drink also. Pepsi also can be called drink, even water or whatever else can be called drink. So then you think that Swami is asking for a drink. No, it cannot be that conventional drink. He must only mean something that is to be, so he must mean water or Pepsi at the most, that's what he thinks. So this is how you interpret the words depending on proper context. The Mimamsakas have done a lot of analysis of how to interpret these statements of the Vedas, because that is their primary focus. Mimamsakas' primary focus is understanding Vedas, interpretation of the statements of Vedas. So sometimes Shruti means that whatever the scripture says, literally take, that is called Shruti. Sometimes it doesn't quite apply. So sometimes it says fire is cold, or sometimes they look at this Yupa, the sacrificial post is Aditya Yupa, the sacrificial post is sun. It is evident that, sacrificial post means there is a post, to which what is to be sacrificed is tied now, That's a wrong example, but anyway, that's the example, standard example given. And so it is sun. Why is it called sun? Sacrificial post is called sun. Why is it so? Because it is, they apply ghee to that thing, to that post. And it is close to the fire, And so it shines, that ghee that reflects in that, it shines like sun. So sacrificial post is said to be Yupa Adityo Yupa. Yupa is Aditya. Anyway, what I am saying is that is how this is the. You cannot take this literally, Shrutam, meaning this is not Aditya. Then you have to apply the linga reasoning as to why is it being said. Then you arrive at the conclusion that what the teacher means is that because it looks bright and therefore this Yupa Aditya. So that also does not apply. Then you go to the Prakaran, the context. So this is how we understand. All of us understand in our own way. Sometimes we take the meaning directly. Sometimes when the direct or vachyata does not work, then we apply reasoning to understand that I think teacher means this. Sometimes that also is not quite appropriate. This is a context, so he must have said this. So therefore, Shruti, Linga, Prakarana, all kinds of things are there. And so this is how the people interpret. But here, Indra simply takes Shruti. Whatever teacher says, that's what he takes. And then now he sees, so Roditi eva apriya vetta eva bhavati. This fellow dreamer very often is subjected to unpleasant words. Roditi eva, sometimes the fellow is crying and weeping. Namatra bhogyam pashyameti. This can't be Atma. Atma cannot be crying. Atma cannot be insulted. Atma cannot be unhappy. Atma cannot be miserable. This dreamer, which I understand as Atma, is sometimes crying, weeping, miserable. He is subjected to all kinds of insults. So, if this is Atma, then will it get me immortality? This Atma? Amrutam, Abhayam, Etad Brahma. Is this Atma? Can it be immortality? Can it be fearlessness? Can it be Brahma? Mahamatra Bhogyam Pashyameti. He concludes that no, this also cannot be Atma. And so comes back to Prajapati. That's how Indra comes back. Once, twice, 3 times. So we'll continue tomorrow. He again comes back and reports whatever it is that whatever reasoning, understanding attained, he reports to Prajapati. That's the right thing to do. If I did not understand it, whatever I understood is so very innocently or openly he tells the teacher. He doesn't tell the teacher what the teacher wants to hear. Doesn't want to claim that I know and I understood the Atma. He doesn't say that. He just says exactly what he understands. Then teacher understands what the problem is, and then teacher will know how to solve that problem. So you can see here the honesty of the communication, even on the part of the student. Then he comes back. This dreamer cannot be Atma. Naham atra bhogyam pashyami. I see no benefit in knowing dreamer is Atma. So then he comes back and the dialogue continues. We'll see. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.